I wish this was dream. First, I want to preface this with, I am very skeptical when it comes to anything about the supernatural. I tend to not trust anything without scientific evidence. That being said, I'll get into my experience with something that I can't explain away. In late 2014, early 2015, I worked offshore in Louisiana and lived in St. Bernard Parish. I rented a home there. My younger sister and her 3 children were also living with me. She was having troubles due to her and her husband separating. I wouldn't be home half the month because my offshore job required me to be out for a week, then home a week. My sister would tell me while I was home, she had a lot of weird things happening to her and her kids. She couldn't explain it, but decided it was supernatural, as many of us do when faced with something we cannot explain. I laughed it off. I also want to mention something I didn't find out till months later. The house I was renting had been completely underwater during Katrina, and an elderly couple drowned in their home, as many did. My sister would tell me her and her kids were experiencing things like locked doors would fly open then close again. If anyone in the house was taking a shower, the lights in the bathroom would turn on and off during the entire shower. Again, I chalked it up to her just being nervous to be alone in the house. Well, that same night as I laid my head down, something happened I cannot understand. That night as I lay in bed, I ponder the experience my sister told me earlier that day. Suddenly I felt a weight pressing on my legs. Being half asleep, I assumed it was my sister or one of my nephews. I raised up out of a half sleep, certain to see either my sister or a nephew. Instead, all I saw was a concave indentation at the foot of my bed, half on my legs and the bed. Being completely exhausted from the prior week, I moved, pulling my legs up into a kind of fetal position. It wasn't easy at first to move my legs. The weight was as if a full-grown man was sitting on them. My room had a bathroom in it. I chose it specifically for that reason. Several hours into the night, I got up to use the restroom and heard what I determined to be a male voice saying, I believe, "Get out." Although it could have said just about anything. The voice could have been saying, "Grout." Who knows? Point is, there definitely was a voice. Immediately after that, I heard a bang in the kitchen. I slowly started to sneak towards the kitchen, taking care not to wake my sister and her kids in the room closest to the kitchen. She apparently also heard the noise and was entering the kitchen the same time as me. We looked at one another and then at the sink cabinet. My garbage can, which was under the sink, was thrown across the room, landing by the couch in the living room, a good 12 feet away. Seconds later, my nephew ran out of their room crying and screaming. "He's in our bedroom! He pushed me!" I ran to their room that, as of late, my sister and kids slept in. Before I could even cross the doorway, I was knocked off my feet, which woke up the other kids. Suddenly, everything we had sitting on the island in the kitchen began to fly off in all directions. I grabbed 2 kids. My sister grabbed the other kid, and we ran to my bedroom to hang low. Well, when we got to the room, every single thing I had in the room was laying on the floor in a big pile. Books, bedding, even my television, which was attached to the wall. Needless to say, we got out of Dodge fast. We moved out the next day. While, and this part is messed up, packing up our stuff, I called the homeowner and told him I was moving out. I told him the reason and expected him to laugh at me, but he didn't. He wasn't surprised at all. I'm sure he's either been through it himself or had another renter prior to me who had the same encounters. In conclusion, I'm still a skeptic, but I also know this really did happen to me. I've never experienced anything like that before or since. Anyway, that's my haunted story. Stay safe.